afternoon, everyone. How's it going? Good. Could you submit the final first draft and the second draft, the first draft that you submitted? Could you edit something or add something new? What did you do? Added something new or just re-edited the previous one?
Based on the corrections.
Based on the corrections. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anything is fine. Just follow it up. We all submitted the final draft? Yes, you can do. If you haven't submitted yet, you can, yes. But then, okay, yeah. Yeah, sure. 6. Today's 6, right?
Yes.
Yes, 6. So by the end of the day, yes. Yeah. Yesterday we have been following up with our scholarly papers, particularly on the mental section. And we have seen many disciplinary differences. Like in some disciplines, we see the methods and results are merged, and that's fine. Today, we'll talk about results, the language, expression, structure of result section, and we'll do some tasks from the book. Tomorrow again, we'll get back to the scholarly articles, and we'll pick it up from where we left yesterday, from methods to discussions. So we'll see in per usual on your submitted PDFs and scholarly articles, the stylistics and the structure of method results and discussion altogether tomorrow. Today we'll not look into those scholarly articles. Rather, we'll focus on the result section structure, language, expressions, and we'll practice from the book. So let's begin. In the result section, primarily we have this structure. If we talk about the paragraph structure, then we'll go in detail about the sentence moves. So the first paragraph structure is, we call it summary statement that includes location statement. Let me show an example as well. So this is a summary statement along with a location statement. Location statement as in the result section either starts with a location if it's an active sentence. If it's a passive sentence, the location statement might be in the end. For example, the next example is that. Let me read it out loud. So table 5 or figure 1, 2, 3, whatever location you provide, or graph or chart, shows that the most common modes of infection for youth businesses. And then you go on explaining or giving a summary. So that's the summary statement. And before the summary statement, we have the location element, or sometimes if it's passive, the location element might be in the latter part. The subject would be the summary statement. So that's how it goes. So that's the primary structure. What else we have? The next, after summary statement, we have highlighting statement. Now, highlighting statement has many features. For example, let me take you to the next slide. Yeah. So when we are highlighting statement, so it will have various moves and it will go on. You might talk about irregularity. You might talk about certain trends. You might talk about implication of data. So it depends on your topic. All good? So that's what we call highlighting statements. So I'm talking about the paragraph structures. So first we have summary statement. Then we have highlighting statements. And what we have inside highlighting statements, we'll get there within a while. The next is called discussion or argument. Now, sometimes results and discussion chapter are blended. Sometimes, even if you see in many papers, the title of that chapter is Results and Discussion. And sometimes it's separated, and it's all okay, depends on your discipline. So if you want to separate it, for example, for our course, we separated it. Tomorrow is the lecture for discussion. So I'll not get there today. I'll not talk about the moves we see in discussions. So let's say in the slide, I have an example here. So the first statement is summary statement. Table 5 shows that. The middle part is what I call highlighting statement. And today we'll discuss what we have in the highlighting statement. Right. This part, which I colored gray, because this is tomorrow's discussion. That's the discussion part or argument part. And that will go on. That can be a separate chapter even. So we have this basic structure. We provide a summary statement and a location statement. Then we have a highlighting statement. Then you argue or reestablish a claim or reach to a new claim after commenting on the data that you have. So that's the discussion chapter. So we'll not talk about it today. We're good? Let's get back where we were. So summary statement could be of two kinds. And you can see the differences on the screen. If it's descriptive, so you're giving a general idea in the summary statement in the beginning. For example, table 28 shows how. So we use either how or that clause structure, right? Grammatically. How college seniors rated, future career path considerations. That's a descriptive general idea. Or you can also start with an informative and comparative or contrast sentence. For instance, table 20 shows that while college men and women rated most path considerations similarly, they differ significantly about a job's potential. So now you're giving a bigger picture. That's also a summary. We don't have any data yet. When you talk about significant exact trends in the highlighting statement later on, then it will be more convincing about the claim that you just mentioned in the summary statement. Any confusion so far? So we start with the summary statement, and then we give highlighting statement. You might have multiple charts, graph in your paper. So today we'll just focus on one, the way to construct one result section. All good? Let me take you to this. Three features, for instance, we have in highlighting statement now, after summary statements. First of all, you can identify trends or regularities. You don't point every data. Now that's what we have been talking about even yesterday, while talking about method section, how to make that balance. To what extent should I provide, and what would seem perfect, or what would be too long to make that balance? Because you cannot provide every data, rather you have to find a trend. That means you're summing up the regularity or irregularity. Some significant data you are picking up and providing, and also justifying. We saw examples of justification language yesterday in method section. Today we'll look into the result section, how it is justified, why you have picked that particular trend. Okay? We separate important findings from less important findings. We do not mention every finding, as I just said. And we try to reach to the claim. That's how we pick up the data or the results that you want to mention. Because the ultimate goal is what claim you want to reach. Good? As an example, just have a look at this language expression. As can be seen. So we constantly refer back to the data, the graph, the chart, or the table that you have already provided. Every sentence starts with like table 5 shows that. That's a location statement. The next sentence, first phrase is as can be seen in the majority of cases. So that means you're summing up. You're giving a general idea of the data. You're not pointing out every data. And then if something is alarming, a significant trend, you are highlighting that. However, it is alarming to note that. So every now and then, the sentence phrases refer back to the graph or chart or table. It is alarming to note that. Then we have the discussion section that I'll not talk today. As I said, it will be tomorrow's lecture. What we have in the discussion and what features we expect in the discussion. Now, let's have a look at a few grammatical aspects after this basic division of paragraphs in results section. So let's say a few simple basic grammatical aspects. For instance, page 165. Task 5, 10, 60. Let's go to per user. So in results section, the task 5 is pretty simple. It's about preposition. And we all might be good at it. But the point is not only to use the correct form of preposition, but also to see the expressions of the whole sentence, the whole language. So the objective of today's task, whatever we'll do, we might only do, let's say, fill in the gaps with prepositions, but we'll also try to look into the expressions, how it is expressed, what kind of subject has been used, verb has been used, in order to express the highlighting statements or summary statements or location elements. Now, in results section, various styles of prepositions are used. So let's try it out. This one and the next one is about hedging. We all know about hedging. I've shared a few videos and resources about hedging. Task 10 is about hedging. So this is task 5. We'll discuss these two all together because the first one is pretty simple. It won't take much time. Let me take you there. I hope that's task 5. Task 10. Yes, so we have verbs here. We'll select, according to the instruction, the weaker claim, not the stronger claim, which is hedging. Stronger as in boosted. We'll not use the verb that is boosting, rather we'll select the verb that is hedging. So these two tasks, and pretty simple. It won't take much time, I hope. Let's begin. Task 5 and 10. It's just a warm-up task. Those who came late, any help, assistance needed? What we're doing? So just go to this page 165. That's the task. Yeah. Task 5 and 10. These two tasks. I will do. These 10 examples in this preposition task has 10 sentences, and all of them are location statements. Are we done? As these two tasks, I would say quite easy, so let's not get into the group discussion. We'll do group discussion from the next test. Can we share with the class now? Good? 5 and 10 done? Let's begin. So the first one, so location statement. As can be seen
From. From.
So we have two options we got. Now this says from.
In.
And anything else? Multiple options? Huh? Okay, so the prepositions could be confusing, right? I would say in. In is exactly the perfect answer. You'd say, as can be seen in figure 4, very common expression. We'll also look into our scholarly articles, what kind of prepositions there you can see in your discipline. So the first one, in. There are few examples here where multiple prepositions could be options. I'll talk about that if there are multiple answers. The next one, as predicted by. Perfect. Third, as described. We can have multiple, right? It's in. Now with preposition, hardly there would be multiple options because it's actually a fixed rule. So this goes with this. In any case, a few examples, maybe one or two are there where we might have multiple options. The fourth. As defined in the introduction. Thank you. Awesome. Fifth, as reported It's in. As reported in previous literature. 6. As can be seen.
By
Hmm. Hmm.
From or from
true.
So we have how many options we have? Number 6. One said, a few said from,
Yeah.
by. Anything else?
True.
Oh, you mean 2.
True.
As can be seen.
True.
Oh, true. From a comparison. Some said from, some said true.
By wrote in as mass.
By.
In. Yeah, that's what I write.
I would go with in.
In.
Yeah. As can be seen in comparison. In comparison.
Oh, you're comparing, so it shouldn't be from a comparison.
But comparing with when it comes later, not before comparison.
Yeah.
Compare with that we use also after compare as a verb. But before, as can be seen in. So it's seen is the verb based on which we are putting in.
So if there is instead of a, if the article was the, then would that change?
Which one? This.
Yeah.
As can be seen in a comparison.
Instead of it was the.
But why would you use the here?
Because let's say my paper only has one comparison.
Then you don't need to put the,
Oh.
because it has one comparison, you said.
Oh.
So it's our comparison. You don't need any article if it's fixed. I mean, if it's only one.
Or maybe if I've mentioned the comparison before and I am again mentioning comparison, so then it will be the comparison.
Then you can use that. This comparison, that comparison. I mean, if,
Oh.
yeah. That would be more confusing then. If you have multiple, then it's better to be specific. You know. 7.
7. By of.
So as has been demonstrated previously,
By
with materials of this type. With materials of this type. Make sense? Should I write? With materials of this type. By is for the next one, demonstrated by previous studies. 8, demonstrated by previous studies. And also, if you write in, that won't be wrong. Here we have multiple options. Demonstrated in previous studies
is correct.
is correct as well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That is from.
Demonstrated from. No. Do not use from. Yeah. By or in. The exact preposition. Number 9. On. By. Correct. Thank you.
Is yeah.
As shown by the line of best fit. It's kind of a phrase actually. As shown by the line of best fit. 10 is easy. As noted in our discussion.
Yeah.
In. So pretty confusing. Working with prepositions, huh?
Almost everything.
That's fine. The purpose of this task was not to be perfect in preposition, but the purpose was to understand the expression of location statement, the way we start the results section. So today we're talking about the result chapter, and we start with the location statement, and we see 10 various samples of expressions, and all are mentioning about the location statement, referring to the chart, graph, table, or any figure that you're using in your results section. And if you're using multiple figures, so it could be multiple paragraphs, and you can change all the paragraphs expressions and pick any one you like, and you can use all those expressions. Good? Now let's look into the hedging section. Page. Ten, right? There we are. This is quite easy, I guess. I'll let you all speak. The first one. Indicate, correct. Establishes boosting, not hedging. Number two. Suggest compared to show. Yes, suggest is hedging. Number three. Correct. Fourth. Correct. Five. Assume. Correct. Awesome. Six. Alluded is hedging. Identify will be a straightforward boosting. If you need to use boosting, it's not like you cannot use boosting, but particularly this task is only to identify the hedging verbs. 7. Influenced. 8. Eight. Failed or forgot. Failed is boosting. Forgot, I would say both of them actually kind of like boosting, but if you have to pick one, failed is boosting. Boosting would be, let's see all these examples. So if you use challenge, that's boosting. If you use question, that's hedging. If you use validate, that's boosting. If you use support, that's hedging. It's a stronger claim, it's called weaker claim. So now we are selecting the weaker claim, the verb that softens the claim. And on the other hand, let's say if you select, for example, the next one, number 9. As shown in figure 3, trade liberalization has encouraged. So encourage is hedging because it's softer claim. Stimulated is boosting. Make sense? Also, 10 would be a perfect example if you still have confusion about hedging and boosting. Figure 12 clarifies that's boosting. And hedging would be figure 12 depicts. Make sense? Softer claim and stronger claim. Depends on your claim. If your claim is stronger, you are 100% sure something is wrong in the previous literature or whatever in the result, in the data, you can use boosting. And if there could be any alternatives, it's better you use hedging. That's a safer part. So then you won't be in a false position because you're using hedging. Make sense? Now the main part of this class today, task 16, page 187 possibly. Type 187. So we got an understanding of location statements or variations in location statements based on various prepositional elements, and then the verbs we use, whether boosting or weaker claims like hedging. Now we have to understand the function. Then finally I'll talk about the moves. Today I'm not giving the moves earlier because the moves will vary, that's why I'm not giving it earlier. Functions of every sentence. It's not like whatever we're feeling we're writing. We gotta know every sentence has a function and what the function is. So now we can see our small passage here, right? We understood the first sentence is location statement or summary statement. What about the other statements? What's the function of that statement? That's what we will find out together. Form a group, 2 or 3 members, according to your convenience. And then you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only, let's say we have 7 sentences. And also you have a box, a table for 7 sentences. The first one, for instance, is a highlighting statement or summary statement or implication of a result or justifying an evidence, whatever you think the purpose is of every sentence. So we'll try to work on that now. And there will not be any one correct and perfect answer here. Every answer might be different, and that's okay. Oh, good? So let's read these 7 sentences and try to find out the function or purpose of the 7 sentences. And for your information, we don't have a summary statement here because it's a continuation of a previous task. So the summary statement, let's say it's task 7, you'll get it there. That's why we don't have it here. That's why the first one is done for you here, which is highlighting statement. So the passage starts with a data. It highlighted a particular data. We don't have a summary statement like table 5 shows that, because it is mentioned in the earlier section. Now we're figuring out every highlighting statements and its purpose and functions. Any questions? Good? You can also write over there, by the way, in per usual. You can select a word or sentence and the section, and then you can type comments. If you're done reading the 7 sentences and you're going to talk about functions with your peers and classmates, form a group. I would request not to do it alone. You guys, if you can do it together. You do it if you can. Are we done? If you have any confusion, you can ask me. You don't have to find the qualifying word, just find the purpose. Qualifying words means what made you, which phrases made you decide that this is the function. Which words and phrases made you decide that this sentence is talking about limitation. Let's say the purpose is to mention the limitation, or the purpose is to mention the conclusion. Or
example, all through the number of sentences highlighting qualified words that chose selected. And I don't understand why selecting can be qualified words but highlighting.
slightly more than 3/4, I would have selected the whole phrase
Right.
as a highlighting. I mean, you're highlighting slightly more than 3/4.
Just the first one is one is findings.
One of the key findings. That's what you said? Right, correct. I mean, we can say it's one of the highlighting statements. Right? So one of the key findings. Second sentence also, less than a quarter. The same structure. So that's highlighting statement 2. The second sentence again. Another key finding. Let's see what you guys find out from 3 to 7. Done? Done? Shravan? We good? This group done? Dylan? Huh? Let's discuss with the class then? Yes. So the first sentence, as I already shared, slightly more than 3/4 we are getting a data. So what do you think the purpose? Yeah, it's already done there. So it's, let's say, key finding or highlighting statement, whatever you want to write. Key finding or highlighting statement 1. You can have multiple highlighting statements in the whole result section, in many paragraphs. Even in one paragraph, there could be multiple highlighting statements. The second one. Highlighting statement 2. Because of the qualifying phrase, let's say, less than a quarter. And you added it's a secondary highlighting statement or key finding because of the word moreover. So it's continuation of the first highlighting statement. Moreover, so another key finding or highlighting statement 2. That was easy. Now from the third problem. Overall, we got a qualifying phrase. Then what do we have? The figures, so we got it, it's a summary statement, you're summing up. But what's your summing up? You said problem. Anyone else? Claim, so we got 2 words, problem, claim.
This is not the claim of research paper because he's giving one example.
The figures would appear to suggest that most Japanese scientists have difficulties and frustrations when preparing papers for English medium journals. We got into summary statement, but we're still trying to focus, a narrowed focus, getting deeper there. What's the summary statement is? If that's the question, then what should we say? So he said claim, you said it's the problem statement. Anyone else? Something new or you all agree? If you agree, then you say that I agree with.
I actually disagree for claim. I think problem is more
Appropriate?
Yeah, problem is more appropriate.
Number 3, any
I think it's more of a claim.
more of a claim? The problem is also the claim. That's what you mean, right? The claim of this section.
But number 4 gives an example, like, so that's why it no longer says a claim, the number.
Oh, we'll get there to number 4. Let's finish 3, the third point first, the third sentence first. So I would say, so let's use a different word because we already have so many words, but we all actually mean the same thing. So it's, let's say if I write, that's the claim also, that's the problem also. So it's a qualified conclusion. Overall means you are writing the conclusion of the problem. That's the conclusion, not the conclusion of the whole chapter. The conclusion you reached a conclusion. Make sense what I'm saying? You reached to a decision that overall the figures would appear that to suggest that this is the difficulty everyone or these people are having. So you reached a conclusion based on the 2 highlighted statements. Can we agree with this? Are we getting it? Based on highlighting statement 1, highlighting statement 2, you reached a conclusion. And you're using a word overall, and then you mention what conclusion you reached. That's your claim, that's your problem statement. So let's see now the 4th one, as you have been saying. Given the well-known differences between scientific English and scientific Japanese, the heavy reliance on Japanese is somewhat unexpected. Number 4, so what is it?
Example.
Discussion of a problem, you said example. Anyone else?
Example much like supporting data.
Yeah, true. Huh?
Claim.
So I would say this is, number 4 is an unexpected result. If you think about the structure of the whole result section, so you highlight a key finding, another key finding, then you're giving a summary statement or the conclusion that you reached based on the data. Now the 4th data is not about any of this. It's not about the first 1, 2, 3 points that we discussed. It's talking about unexpected result or an irregularity of the trend. There was a trend going on. You can say also an irregularity of the trend, an unexpected result. Or irregularity. I mean, even if I have to write this, irregularity. Exception. Also, we have the exact word, something was unexpected that happened.
So it's also highlighting.
Yes, I mean this whole section is actually highlighting statements. But we have key finding 1, key finding 2. Now you are highlighting the unexpected result. That's also another finding. Correct. Thank you. Right you are. But just not to confuse with all this data, let's say we have 3 key findings mentioned. So let's name them in a different way. That's why I'm saying it is, let's say it's the irregularity of the trend or unexpected result. But certainly, definitely, it's also another highlighted statement. It's a new data, it's a different key finding. So let's say it's the unexpected result or irregularity. Oh, good? 5th, anyone? This group, would you like to say something? What do you think about the 5th sentence? The purpose of the 5th sentence. This phenomena probably reflects a lack of confidence in English. Awesome, brilliant. Because of the phrase demonstrative adjective, this phenomenon. So you're explaining the unexpected result. So the 5th sentence, that's why I separated them. 1, 2, 3 there, 4, 5 here. 4 is unexpected result or irregularity of the trend or another exceptional key finding. 5th is explaining why something unexpected happened or explanation of that finding, that irregularity. So and if I have to pick up the phrase, it will be this phenomenon reflects. So you're actually giving an explanation. This phenomenon reflects whatever the author find out. Any confusion? When we have a question?
Not clear.
The 5th, the whole highlighting statements will lead to several claims
Oh.
because now we are not anymore in the location statement.
No.
So when you mention this table chart talks about this, and after that, every highlighting statement, you are actually trying to reach to a certain claim. And finally, you'll authorize your ultimate claim. So, you know what I mean? There will be multiple claims. That's the purpose of picking up data. That's why you're picking a summary version of the data, of that highlighting statement. Okay? So you're explaining that unexpected result. 6, 7. We can talk about them together.
Yeah.
Okay, let's separate them. 6. Because both are not same, but belongs to the same category. What is number 6? Purpose, huh?
Qualified.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Lim and Billy. It's limitation. Limitation of the data. These findings, so some cautious since they're based on what scientists, it's talking about the limitation of the data. 7, very easy. 7, the purpose of the 7th sentence. Recommendation or future research prospect. So you can say recommendation for future research or for future researchers or further research. Good. So we got an idea of the result section structure and purpose of every sentence. When we will be constructing, it's not like we'll be writing whatever we want to write, but we'll try to follow up this kind of patterns so that we establish a purpose. Now, the next task is task 6. So let's go 18. Task 8, right? You can see on screen for yourself. Task 18, that's page number 189. Now, when you'll be reading it, my request is fill up the gaps is an excuse to engage your brain in the task. But that's not the only purpose. The purpose is to understand each and every sentence construction, flow. The purpose why this sentence comes after this. Try to understand the reasons behind these positions. So whenever we'll be reading any passage, whether you're studying a research paper, scholarly articles, this kind of tasks, it enables our brain to think subconsciously about the structure. Now, to fill up the gap is not about preposition or verbs. Just few words omitted. Any few word or phrases, not only one word, could be multiple words. So this is the fill up the gap. This is the data chart. So we have a graph here. So now we have to just fill up the gap with certain words that would be meaningful to us. But while reading it, not only we will focus on the blanks, but also the way it moves. And let's do it together, not alone. Think about active, passive, tense if it's a verb. It's kind of like a vocabulary exercise. And you can discuss. You don't have to do it alone. How many caps do you have here? 5, 6, 7. No, right? Let me know if you all are done. Is it tricky or easy?
And while filling up the gap, also think about the tense, because there's a mix of present and past tense in this section. So when we use present simple and when we use past. How much time we need? 2, 5, 7 minutes. We'll be done in 2 minutes. Can we say 2 minutes? Done? Can we discuss together? Or anyone needs? Done? Let's share. The first one. The observed and predicted carbon dioxide levels of 24 hours in a commercial building. You all agree? You all agree?
Is as shown where are as shown.
So, the first one we are saying present simple auxiliary and P3, which is because of the past, passive tense. So it's, that's what we all said? Are shown. Levels, plural.
Have been shown.
Levels, the subject, head noun. That's why we cannot use this. But it's present, it's passive.
How about as shown?
Hmm?
As shown.
As shown.
No, as shown.
But you need an auxiliary. Amizar was where?
As shown. Yes. Shown.
Yeah, so it's, if you write as shown, the observed, the predicted carbon levels in a commercial building, then we don't have a verb.
No,
Do you understand the meaning?
there's the verb we're not skipping it. But it's making it.
Yeah, let's clear it out. So let's say if you don't use are,
He's using it.
and if you use this,
The three of them.
As shown. As shown in figure 5.
Three.
oh, you want three words? Are as shown.
Yeah.
It's asking if that is correct too.
The observed and predicted carbon dioxide levels for 24 hours in a commercial building, here as do not add any meaning.
No, not just as, like as shown.
Are as shown, I know what you mean, yeah. But that's an unnecessary word. I mean, it means the same if you write are shown. Yeah, but it's not incorrect. Let me put it in that way. So grammatically it's correct. We see such expressions, but here it's not needed. You can directly write are shown.
Can it be have been shown?
Past. When we talk about the graph, we use present simple. For example, also you can see in the next section, shows, figure 9 shows. Number 4, figure 9 shows, always past simple. But when you're talking about the method, we see past simple, right? For example, the actual carbon dioxide concentrations were, the second one, what's the verb?
Obtain. Obtain.
Okay, we have many verbs. Let's see. Let's hear it out more.
Observe,
Measured. Also, you said that. Yeah. Anything else? Go ahead. Measured. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, obtained also, but measured would be very accurate. Measured also very accurate. Yeah. The actual carbon dioxide concentrations were measured directly from sites. So we see past, simple, passive, plural. The third, in this case, ABC model
was considered.
Exactly.
was used, was considered. Let's hear it out more. Was a part. Was implied. Okay. And anything else? Huh? Yeah, all makes sense. Yeah. Also, you can say was chosen. This method was chosen.
I mean, that makes the same meaning like implied as well. Since it was assumed that the air was completely replaced and mixed with fresh air every hour and there was no degradation. Fourth, I already said it, figure 9 shows that. Figure 9, right? That's the figure dimension. Figure 9 shows that. The predicted carbon dioxide concentrations increase sharply after 8 a.m. and
So for number 4, can someone say the figure?
sorry.
Instead of saying figure 9, can you say the figure shows?
Yes, you can see that. If you have one figure, then you can see the figure. But if you have multiple figures, it's better to mention the figure number.
Or what about the figure above?
But it has been mentioned earlier,
It was mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, in this place, yes.
so I don't.
Yeah, so in this place it's one figure, so you can also use that figure. What you saying? Sorry.
I said at least they have 9 figures already,
That's why
right?
it's
So
figure
we
9.
can also. the-
Oh yes, that's the point. In this paper, they have 9 figures.
That's why it's named figure 9.
It's not, yeah, so it's better to mention the figure number. If you have only one figure, you don't have to mention every time figure 1, figure 1, figure 1. But if it's figure 9, that means there are 8 more figures. It's
This,
a good catch, thank you.
if you say this figure,
Then which this? There could be a confusion.
but if figure 9 has been mentioned before, so.
But there could be many figures all before and after this passage. So that's why it's better. Yeah, there could be a confusion which figure you're mentioning. Because the previous paragraphs could have talked about other figures.
Yeah,
So it's,
in any sequence.
yeah, so the sequence will not be exactly like 1, 2, 3, right? When we write. The sequence overlap. Yeah, we collide, we synthesize. So, what's the verb we used? Increase, so the next one is decrease.
Yeah.
You all agree? Easy one.
Using decline would be abrupt.
I mean, as you have used increase, so it's better to use the contrary exactly. That makes sense. Decrease steeply after 6 p.m. This is because the carbon dioxide levels were
Expected.
Supposed.
believed, presumed. Perfect. Yeah, all are correct. Expected, assumed. Nice. So we see past, simple, passive. However, the model overestimates the carbon dioxide levels during the occupancy periods and 7.
Underestimates during
Be louder. Please, feel free.
underestimates during the rest.
So we got the verb. We have overestimates, so it would be underestimates. We don't need to mention the subject again, carbon dioxide levels. We'll use them. Underestimates them during the vacant period. Perfect. Because it's occupancy period during the vacant period. Oh, good? Let me write it out. So underestimates underestimates them during the vacant period. Because the previous one was during the occupancy periods. Good? This was the only one, maybe quite longer and a little tricky. Number 8. Hmm?
Indicate or suggest.
You said due to. And before that, what you used?
I used is caused by.
Caused by. Okay. Sorry?
As a result of.
As a result of. Yeah, makes sense. So in a way, it means I would. That's why you wrote this for so don't forget. It's better to use hedging here. Why? That's a discussion. Because it's several factors it's talking about. So there could be alternatives. It's not a definite boosting. If you use auxiliary, it might be boosting. Auxiliary as in except the modal auxiliaries like may be due to, may be as a result. Or even if you want to use cause, so it should maybe will lessen the claim, will give a softer claim. Make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not 100 and 100 short. It's maybe due to several factors. So these are the places where we use hedging. We soften the claim so that we are not proven false. Make sense?
What if you suggest? Just like suggest.
But then you cannot use due to because
Yeah.
suggest is not an auxiliary. Like maybe is an auxiliary. Then we don't need a verb here. The lower levels found in the occupancy period.
Suggest several factors.
It's only a complete sentence.
Or you need to allude to.
It's only
You can reconstruct it. Suggest would be also weaker claim. That's true.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, but in that case, it will not have the meaning of cause and effect. Due to. So due to gives it kind of gives a feeling of as a result. So that's the result or the cause.
But the factor, I mean, I thought like as the word factor is used, due to is implied.
If you don't write, then not implied. No.
Oh.
If you write it due to several factors, otherwise it will seem incomplete. Like these are the factors based on which the result you can see. Number 9.
Conclusion. In summary.
However.
In summary.
In addition.
However,
In summary.
in summary, I would have used as a linker. When now we're talking about connectors, sentence connectors, transition signals. These are also called transition signals. And also another word for this, if you ever want to Google and learn more and all the list, discourse marker. If you know the word, it's called discourse marker. I mean, the words that you all have used. However, in addition, these are the examples of discourse marker. Also known as transition signals, also known as, in the easy layman language, sentence connectors or linkers. I would have used on the other hand because it's, to me, that makes more sense. If I use on the other hand, the predicted levels are, make sense to you? If I use on the other hand,
As clear as this other, like this correspondence. So we didn't say something like on the one hand because it's.
we don't say on one hand. That phrase is not used, by the way. We say on the other hand. And when we say the one hand, we can go on. Like, for instance, we don't have to mention firstly. Without the word firstly, you can go on. If you want to mention a second step, then you can say secondly. It's kind of like that. So, and on one hand, we don't have to say that unless it's the same sentence. In a same sentence, yes, we have seen this expression. On one hand, you say something and then comma, the other hand, and you continue that and full stop, one sentence.
If you want to show a conflict within the.
Yes, it's like not only but also, so it's in the same sentence. But in a separate way, we do not write that because then it would have lost the flow. One hand would be somewhere that you would have forgotten already by after coming to the 10th sentence or 9th sentence. So on the other hand, now you're giving a different data. Let's see. The predicted levels are lower than the observed levels. Perfect. Correct. So predicted levels, observed levels. You got it? Number 11. Very good that you use modal, but the option of the verb might vary. I mean, that's also correct. Let's see. Okay, diminish. You said decrease. Good. Good. You okay? Fine. Good or maybe. Both are same, by the way. That's a good use of hedging. Thank you. Anything else?
Lower.
Lower. Reduce. So let's say ventilation rate may be reduced. Right? Or could be lower if you want to use lower than the sentence structure, that little change. It could be lower or maybe reduced. And instead of reduce, you can use all the other synonyms as well. That's also fine. Oh, good? The last one. Although the full is still conservative reactor, overestimate or underestimate the dash occupancy.
Why not just
I would have said the effects or impact of occupancy. If I had to use something. Because it's talking about the implication. Whether you're underestimating or overestimating the tense, the effects or the impact of occupancy. It performs well. So that's because it's talking about the impact. Oh, good? Okay, so today, I guess we ran out of time, right? Cool. Thank you for the participation. Before we meet tomorrow, just after 2 pages, there is another task that I would request all of you just this one. Not now. Before we meet tomorrow, if you can do it, it will be a good discussion. Here we have all the result section sentences, but they are not arranged in order. And you gotta reorder them based on, let's say, location statement, summary statement, highlight 1, explanation, and then highlighting statement 2, or the claim, reasoning for the claim, finally implication and conclusion. So that's how you reorder them. So now the task is to select those sentences which are not in the proper order. We have maybe A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So 9 sentences only. Okay? And we'll not do it tomorrow in class. Rather, I am suggesting you to do it before class, and then we can pick it up from there, and then we'll lead to the next chapter, that is discussion tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Thank you.